Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.
Mark, good to chat with you again. I'll start with a story that's been circulating on social media that seems to be gathering some traction. Rumours that Danny Rowe has left the football club and will be joining Chesterfield. What is your knowledge of that situation?
Yeah, my understanding that Danny is on his way to Chesterfield, but no deal has been confirmed at this moment in time.
What's the nature of said deal, from your understanding?
It is obviously gone down for medical, and we've had a number of conversations with Danny over the past couple of weeks. We had a positive conversation yesterday about him being in our plans, but unfortunately, Danny's shown a real intent to leave the football club. We're not going to stand in Danny's way. We want to thank him for his efforts, but we've got to move on. We've identified some targets for the summer. Some more attacking players, which will allow us to play a more expansive type of football. But it's all about getting the right players in the building to allow us to do that.
With the nature of the positive conversation that you had with Danny recently, and then his seeming intent to leave the football club, from your understanding, do you feel let down by Danny Rowe?
Like I said, Danny's done well when he came in to the football club and got us out of a position where we were struggling, and obviously the injury to Lee Novak at that time. But if Danny's made that decision, like I say, we've had a few conversations with him. He was in our plans to go moving forwards, but if somebody doesn't want to be at Bradford City, we're not going to stand in Danny's way in regards to that.
Has there at all been a relationship breakdown, Mark, between yourself and Danny in the football club?
No, not at all. Danny's been a good professional while he's been in the building, but obviously he's just he's not right for him in his opinion. So that's his decision to obviously move on.
You spoke about identifying targets in the summer. Was that communicated to Danny when you had those conversations?
No, these are obviously targets that we've been monitoring, and we want to identify and bring to the club, hopefully in a positive recruitment in the summer. We want to, myself and Connor want to play expansive, attractive football. We want to score more goals. But to allow us to play in different shapes, systems, etc. We need the right people to play in them systems. So we were honest with Danny and wanted him to stay at the club, and he was in a part of our future. We wanted him to be, but if like I said, if he don't want to be at this club, then that's his decision, and we're not going to stand in his way.
Given his recent absence from the side, is it a case then of his qualities as a footballer maybe not suiting the direction in which you want to take Bradford City Football Club, yourself and Connor?
Like I said, these conversations happened. Danny was, he knows that we were, in this position where we could play different systems, etc. And he was going to be a part of that. But we've just got to move on now as a football club, and for me and Connor and the club, I feel it is going to be exciting times moving into the summer window. And looking to bring fresh faces into the building that's going to improve this football club.
Final question on Danny Rowe's situation, Mark. When did you learn of Chesterfield's interest?
Obviously, for me, today was where the conversation was held that Danny was interested in going there. So all I can say is that today was when I found out about the information that Danny wanted to leave to go to Chesterfield.
Presumably then that surprised you somewhat, that news.
Yeah, it did, because obviously, like I mentioned before, we've been having positive conversations with him, and it was a little bit of a surprise to us. But like I say, we want people at this club who want to play for Bradford City.
Those targets then, I'm sure one of those will be Andy Cook, given his form this season. Of course, he's not your player only on loan until the end of this campaign. Does that now put more importance on trying to secure his future as a Bradford City player from Mansfield?
As I said to you before, Jamie, that Andy Cook has been great for us since signing. He's causing problems to defence, and he's a great character within the group. And obviously, Andy is performing well, so he obviously will be a target that we'll be looking to try and bring to the football club.
It almost works in time-wise with the potential return of Lee Novak. I know you suggested that on Tuesday evening. Are you in a position to offer any clearer timescale on when he could be back fit and available for you?
Yeah, Lee Novak, could be in the squad this weekend. We'll see tomorrow how Lee is, but he's had a good trainings week this week, so hopefully he gets passed off and he can be involved in the squad this weekend.
And is he part of your long-term plans, Mark? I realise he's out of a deal this summer.
Lee's been massive for us early on in the season. Before obviously he picked up his injury, Lee has done everything in his powers to get back earlier probably than expected. And we've got to assess Lee over these next couple of games how he is. But again, is a good character to have in the building, and obviously offers a lot of qualities.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that character. We're all aware of his qualities on the field, but I know he was such a big character on that run that you had over the festive period. How valuable is that for you to have back amongst the squad if he's available? Yeah.
When you've got someone like Lee Novak in the changing rooms, he is that voice. Especially for the younger players who they really look up to. And he's a winner. He wants to win football matches, and like I said, he is a good character within the building, and he obviously shows his qualities when he's on the pitch.
In terms of other team news, how is Billy Clark? Do you know any more about his situation now?
Billy's been for a scan today, so we'll get the results probably this evening, and then we'll be able to give you some further notice on Billy Clark.
Does that rule him out for Saturday, or is it still too early to say?
No, that will rule him out, yeah, because he's got his scan, and obviously he hasn't got his results back. It's likely that he won't be involved in the squad this week.
Anything else to report on that front? Any other knocks or niggles to come from Tuesday?
No. Obviously, Clarkey was the only one, which I spoke to you after the game, and obviously potentially Lee Novak to return.
Going back to Tuesday night and the performance and the result, of course, there was a lot of disappointment naturally after the result. Now you've had time to reflect on it, Mark. What are your thoughts and feelings after the game?
Yeah, my reflection now from after watching the game, we probably haven't done enough to win that football match. Yes, the comments I made after the game, we did control the game, we did have a lot of possession, but possession without purpose it don't win your football matches. And I'm big enough to admit that we didn't create enough chances on goal. I could see the frustration in the fans, and obviously what you related back to me. And it's up to us now we're in a position where we can probably try different things and look to experiment a little bit with the squad to allow us to potentially create more chances and find different ways to win football matches.
You've used a word that I had written down on my notepad to my left-hand side, which was experiment. Now that you've got these games left remaining in this season, is it then an opportunity, like you say, for you to try different systems, formations, maybe even some of the younger players like George Stakora or Connor Shanks, maybe?
Yeah. This is kind of a position we've found ourselves in. People can look at it as a positive or negative. These players, us as coaching staff, we didn't just let it slip. We did want to get into the playoffs. We got ourselves in a position, and we are more disappointed than any fan. I guarantee that. But we've got to now look to the future, and if that's to experiment with the squad slightly to get to know the characteristics of these players and can they play in these different systems, which maybe in training that they've not showed that at times it does work. But now we're in a position at this point in the season where we can be a little bit more creative in that, and obviously, I've mentioned it before to you earlier in this conversation that me and Connor are coaches who want to play attractive football, want to score goals. But we identified earlier on in the season that we was leaking goals when we got into the job. We made us harder to beat, and I think we did that. And we were winning games, playing that way. Now we're in a position where can we do both? Can we be more expansive? But by taking a little bit more risks at the back.
Although it is still mathematically possible, I think we're all under the understanding that it might not be the case in the playoffs this season. With that in mind, then, do you have any regrets over the last few games and how things have turned out?
I think obviously we will reflect on the season and the games, and could we have done different things? Potentially, yes. On the other side, this kind of way of playing, this kind of how we identified this group of players to play in this certain system, which allowed us to win so many football matches, was something that we did stick with. We did try and change it slightly tactically within games. It might not look like that on a piece of paper when a team comes out, it's 4-2-3-1 or another formation, etc. But we did try different systems and different ways of playing. But sometimes it just don't work for you within the game.
How much have you learnt about yourselves, you and Connor, over this period? Because it's gone from the real highs to the lows to where we are now.
Yeah, we've learnt a lot. We've learnt a lot about the players in the building. We've learnt about the types of systems and what works and what doesn't. And the key to that is having the right personnel to allow you to play in a certain way. We've got Callum Cook back now, who does allow you to play in different formations because of how versatile he is as a player and what strengths he adds to the team. I think it has been said about Cookie and is he been a big miss. I think any team in League Two and above would miss Callum Cook with his qualities that he's got. You saw the other night that he can break lines with his passing. He can play forwards. He's brave to play forwards. So we have missed Callum Cook, and we've tried different things to try and fill his position, try different systems, try different personnel. But he is a key player for us at this moment in time. What we've got to do in summer is to identify players that if we do lose a Callum Cook for whatever reason, injuries, etc., that we've got other personnel who are similar to Cookie who can help us win football matches.
We spoke to Ryan before the game on Tuesday evening, and he spoke a lot about that position, that number 10, and he spoke a lot about the hard work that is ahead for this summer, ahead of next season. How much work is going in then from your side of things, both you and Connor, in the preparations for that summer and indeed the recruitment drive that I'm sure awaits you?
Yeah, I mentioned it in the January window. It's ongoing for us. We are relentless in our work in regards to not just on and off the field. It's the recruitment side with Lee and Ryan. We are identifying targets. I think we want to bring exciting footballers to the team. Can we get that balance next season of being hard to beat, but also being more attacking and more attractive and scoring more goals? Yes, I think we are in a position where we want to bring them types of players to the club. So I'm excited. I know that all the coaching staff, and this season's not over. It's great for us now to see, like I said, these players that we've already got in the building and see them in different kind of systems and different positions as well. So which you'll probably see over the next 4 or 5 games.
Away from the recruitment drive side of things, Ryan did also talk about improving the footballing department off the field, earning those extra percentage points, earning those extra 20 points, I think was the way that he described it. I mean, where do you see in the footballing department improvements need to be made, Mark, given that you've been in the club now for a good period of time?
One thing that Ryan does is he kind of looks at the club as a whole. He looks at not just the stuff at the ground, but he looks at the stuff at the training ground. He looks at maybe members of staff that he feels that could benefit us and give us the best chance of succeeding next season. That's what we want to do. We want to succeed next year. we want to be in a position where, you know, we've not left ourselves too much to do. You know, early on in the season, we want to start bright. We want to build something, and you know, there will be members of staff, etc. There will be changes to the training ground. You know, these are all things that, you know, us collectively as a team have identified and want to improve.
I'm sure for you that hard work starts on Saturday away at Port Vale. As opponents, what do you make to them? Because in contrast to Crawley and Harrogate and Tranmere, who are all coming in on winless runs, these guys unbeaten in 8. Yeah,
another team who's probably hit form at, you know, a good time. Probably when we've dipped off form, it's been unfortunate for us. But yeah, Port Vale are a good team. You know, they're scoring goals. They're you know, they look to get the ball into the box as much as possible and use the aerial threats and the bodies around high up the pitch. They get a lot of bodies as quick as possible high up the pitch and around the box. So we've got to be defensively strong. You know, I'm talking about being more attractive and want to score more goals. But you know, teams obviously offer another threat. You know, Tranmere offered us a threat, and we thought we nullified that the other day, but we didn't create enough chances going the other way. You know, and on reflection, you know, we needed to do more. We needed more from certain individuals. We needed more collectively as a team, and you know, we'll try and address that going into Port Vale.
And finally, from me, Mike, just what's the mood amongst the camp been like over the last couple of days? Obviously, the disappointment of Tuesday, but then obviously for the want of a better word, the distraction of Danny's seeming departure to Chesterfield.
Yeah, the mood's always been good as a confident group. Obviously, we were, you know, after the games, we're disappointed as you know, the players and the staff. But you know, you've got to pick yourself up and go again. And you know, when we're on a positive run, you know, I don't think nothing's changed really. In terms of the morale in the camp, you know, we are a positive group. You know, we made a positive change when we came into the building, and we try to be positive as much as possible. Yes, you know, when standards drop, we need to let the players know. But you know, we've got to compete, you know, and try and finish as strong as we can this season. And yes, we can experiment a little bit more and start to see different sides of these players, and you know, and see them in different systems, etc. So, you know, everything's, you know, it's obviously not over this season, but we want to, you know, look positive and look to the future and look to, you know, start next season as bright as we can.
Best of luck for Saturday, Mark. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark. You mentioned Callum Cook there. How did he come through Tuesday night? Will he be fit enough to start on Saturday?
Potentially, yeah, potentially. I think I said it after the game. It was important that we didn't throw him into 90 minutes because you know, you can lose your players that way. But Callum's kept himself very fit. You know, and he came on the other day and he got through that fine. So, you know, we'd be definitely looking to extend Callum's minutes.
So probably good enough to start, but maybe not ready to do the full 90 yet.
Yeah, potentially. You know, that he is an option to start.
And looking at recruitment and situations like that, is it a case now that you can maybe bring forward discussions on the contracts of players that you already have?
I think, you know, we've always looked to make these decisions, you know, at the end of the season. That was kind of discussion with the players. So, you know, we'll stick by that. You know, and we'll look to obviously make them decisions in the next couple of weeks.
But from the sounds of it, you clearly have a plan of how you want the team to look next season.
Yeah, we want to improve the squad. That's key. You know, we've got you know, some very good players in the building, and we just want to add to that, and you know, add different types of players to the squad, which is going to give us that kind of option to play in different ways.
Okay, thanks very much. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Mark.
No, Simon.
You were saying just there, you know, to Pete and to Jamie, obviously about the, you know, getting players in who can perhaps adapt to perhaps more different systems. I mean, is it a slight frustration that people have sort of pigeonholed you two as like a pair that only want to play 4-2-3-1 and that's perhaps all you can do?
Yeah, that was a formation that we identified for this group of players, and obviously it worked earlier on. We are, coaching staff team who want to play, who have played, attacking football. We've played 4-4-2, we've played 4-3-3 a lot with the youth team, etc., and in past clubs. So I think it's wrong to nullify, to obviously think that we're just 4-2-3-1. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks you will see kind of us experimenting and seeing if these players can do it in different formations, and then we can really look at kind of how we can set up next season.
I was going to say, so presumably this season almost been a horses for courses, hasn't it, in the sense of getting the job done from where you were when you started, which was all about, as you say, tightening things up and just doing what you can to get those points on the board, wasn't it?
Yeah. I said it to Jamie there that on reflection, we didn't test Tranmere enough. They did really well, but I'm frustrated more than anybody that we didn't create enough chances, have enough shots on goals. Yes, we nullified Tranmere to no shots on targets, but we need to win football matches, and that's and if that means we've got to try different systems next season. But I'm a big believer that you need the right players to play different systems, and you probably lose more games than win if you don't have the right players in certain systems.
So does that in a way broaden the parameters a little bit for the summer recruitment? Because perhaps you're looking at certain players who can play this way or certain players who can play that way, and perhaps it's not just sort of to what system you've been adopting so far.
Yeah, exactly that. I think obviously the nucleus of the team at the moment who are contracted for next season I've played 4-2-3-1 and showed that they can compete and they can win football matches in a 4-2-3-1. So we know that now is a formation that these players can play in, but we need to have the right personnel in the building that is something different, who can offer something different to us, and which will allow us to probably add our kind of spin of being more attacking and being more expansive and want to win football matches by go and put in 2-3 past teams. Yes, we did it against Forest Green, but that was a game where we had a game plan to kind of counter on them. We want to score more goals from playing through and playing over and playing attractive football.
And obviously going back to Lee Novak, I mean, we've spoken several times about the importance he has around the place. I mean, at this stage of the season where people are probably a bit disappointed that you're going to, probably dip out in the playoffs, it's a timely boost, isn't it, if you can get Lee back? Because, you remember again, as we've said, what an impact he can have on the squad. Yeah,
Lee is like I say, he's a big character, but he's also got a lot of qualities. You can have good people, but they've got to have the qualities as well, and he's highly respected from the players around him, from us as staff. He works so hard as a footballer every day in training, and obviously, when it comes to game day, he's got a lot of qualities that he can bring to this squad.
Brought to you by DIS, keeping companies connected with cloud-based solutions. Come on, City.